Not long ago, Unite the People was approached by a gentleman named Bradley James. Mr. James informed us he was working as the bodyguard and driver for Miss Kelsey Harris during Mr. Peterson's trial. As such, he was in close proximity and he had privy to conversations she was having with her husband and others. Mr. James informed us he was not under a non-disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement and was free to speak with Unite the People, and that he was doing it because his conscience would not let him not speak and leave a man in prison for something he did not do. Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was witness to the conversation Miss Harris had where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun, never fired the gun. This statement aligns with the statement of the only non-party witness to the case, Mr. Sean Kelly, who at trial testified he saw 2 women fighting, 2 men break up the fight, 1 man grabbed the other one's arm. Gunshots came from the passenger side. Passenger side is where Miss Harris was sitting. This further iterates that Mr. Peterson did not shoot Miss Pete, did not shoot at Miss Pete, or did not assault Miss Pete. It's just another irregularity in a list of irregularities in this case. For example, there were 3 potential suspects in the car that night, and yet the only DNA sample was taken of Mr. Peterson, even though unknown DNA was found on the gun. Why wasn't Miss Harris's DNA taken? Or was it taken and the information simply never given to the defense? Why wasn't the driver of the car, Mr. Jaquan Smith's DNA taken? Or was it taken and again, simply not given to the defense?
You are now in the black box. Whoa. With Spider Loke, Most Easty, aka VJ Keyway, and the Google Gang. Let's go!
Snake in that hustle. Big shout out to my nigga SPI, Spider Loke. You know I'm in the black box. Had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned. All that.
Jeter. Gratitude is the attitude. It sure is a blessing to be back in the black box as we blow us a session. Oh, yes, and especially when the constant, consistent, continuous content creation campaign continues. Those are the 7 C's, and as we navigate upon these 7 C's, I will be the captain of the voyage, SPI Easty, a.k.a. VJ Keyway, Mr. 1597 himself, your very own host of our very own R&R Hour, where we rest, relax, roll up, and we get into random reactions. This time, I told y'all. I ain't gonna even tell y'all too much in this reaction. What I did is I went and found the episode of Straight Politicking where we was debating this issue on, let's see, when was that? The date of this episode. This episode is from 9 months ago. And we was discussing this. And I want you to notice, I'm gonna get up out of here and just let y'all watch it because it's a little lengthy. You can see how much time is on the video, right? But I'm gonna play what the lawyer just said again and then enjoy the debate we had on this subject because Alex Alonso is nothing less than an expert on issues such as these, legal issues, the way the courtrooms work, the way legalities play out. And I kind of like boast myself as a layman's expert in just logic, practicality, concepts, and somewhat familiar with the English language. And I just knew from my perspective that there should be a doubt beyond reasonable suspicion that something else took place other than this man did something felonious worth 10 years incarceration that evening. And I believe a jury should have found themselves behooved to also feel that way when there was someone on scene who tested positive for GSR, and then, not just that, but then decided not to take the stand under their Fifth Amendment right, which is a right to not incriminate oneself. So listen to what the lawyer said, then listen to the points I made in the debate. And I appreciate y'all pulling up. Free Tory Lanez. Get him together. Damn. It's crazy. It took this for this driver to come out and try to orchestrate this release and let his conscience beat him up. I'll save my comments toward him until Tory is free. On my mama.
Not long ago, Unite the People was approached by a gentleman named Bradley James. Mr. James informed us he was working as the bodyguard and driver for Ms. Kelsey Harris during Mr. Peterson's trial. As such, he was in close proximity and he had privy to conversations she was having with her husband and others. Mr. James informed us he was not under a non-disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement and was free to speak with Unite the People, and that he was doing it because his conscience would not let him not speak and leave a man in prison for something he did not do. Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was witness to the conversation Ms. Harris had where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun, never fired the gun. This statement aligns with the statement of the only non-party witness to the case, Mr. Sean Kelly, who at trial testified he saw 2 women fighting, 2 men break up the fight, 1 man grabbed the other one's arm. Gunshots came from the passenger side. Passenger side is where Ms. Harris was sitting. This further iterates that Mr. Peterson did not shoot Miss Pete, did not shoot at Miss Pete, or did not assault Miss Pete. It's just another irregularity in a list of irregularities in this case. For example, there were 3 potential suspects in the car that night, and yet the only DNA sample was taken of Mr. Peterson, even though unknown DNA was found on the gun. Why wasn't Miss Harris's DNA taken? Or was it taken and the information simply never given to the defense? Why wasn't the driver of the car, Mr. Jaquan Smith's DNA taken? Or was it taken and again, simply not given to the defense?
I was still pulling Megan, and I did not see who shot the weapon.
Man, give me my vindication points, Alex. Before hearing any of that, I told you because she pled the 5th and she had gun residue on her hand as a juror, only needing reasonable doubt, that should have been enough.
Right.
Had no idea.
No, it's got to be beyond a reasonable doubt. Not just reasonable doubt.
I stand in correction.
I believe it's beyond.
Thank you. I meant to include that.
Okay, so then remember, if you're saying that Tory is not the shooter, then you also have to identify beyond a reasonable doubt who the shooter is, because they took the third party culpability defense.
But there's no burden on the defense to prove anything.
Right. No, okay, you're right. But when the defense says that they're using what's called third party culpability, so they're trying to convince the jury, I didn't do it, but somebody else there did. So you also, even though the jury's not there to make someone else guilty or not guilty, you got to convince the jury, okay, you're innocent and this person is the one that did it.
The man on the balcony put the gun in Kelsey's hands, if I ain't mistaken.
He put the gun in Tory's hands too.
In addition to that, I've been debating with Alex the whole time. With that being said, trying to convince the jury of what you just indicated, there's a female who was said to have held the pistol, who chose not to testify under the guise of the Fifth Amendment, which protects her against self-incrimination. So I feel like an intelligent jury who has been well-educated on the process of this scenario, that should be beyond reasonable doubt to think that, hey, she doesn't want to get up here and talk about it because she might be incriminated and she has gunpowder on her hand. There's a potential witness that said she may have handled the weapon. That's enough reason to be, that's beyond reasonable doubt in my assessment.
Yeah, but you just skipping over like 10
that,
other points of evidence.
No. Be optimistic though.
Yeah.
He's on the phone. Yeah, he kind of
after. No.
He kind of made it.
No, if you go chronologically,
but we all just putting it on the scale though.
But we're talking about I didn't skip over anything. I talked about the evidence, the way it developed. Now that happened after. I didn't skip over anything.
He shouldn't have called from jail, bro.
He should not have. But guess what? He did not incriminate himself specific to any one action.
Yeah, but
he could have definitely been apologizing for the overall thing going bad.
That's if you believe that.
No.
Obviously, the jury did not believe that that's what he was talking about.
That's why I don't really have that much faith in the jury system.
No, and he was apologizing because you were hitting both of them and it came out in the car.
He's the real player. He's more player than you and I. We both got player in us, but he's the player, so I can go with that.
Yes.
Okay, but then as 5 minutes within the shooting, Kelsey is sending a text message to Megan's manager that Tory just shot Megan with less than 5 minutes.
That's bad.
That was a part of the evidence. I heard you out. When the LAPD pulled the car over, the gun is under Tory's seat. He's sitting in the front passenger seat. The gun is under his seat. Warm to the touch, as they said. You also have a text message from Tory to Megan that was all bad. Circumstantial. He also has gunshot residue on his hand. The man on the balcony also says the little guy started shooting and waving the gun all around and busting.
What else did he say about?
He said he saw a muzzle flash from where the girls were at.
He didn't see them tussling?
Kelsey?
He sees the two girls fighting, yeah. But the main part was, who did you see shoot, Mr. Old Man on the balcony? I saw the little guy shoot. And that's all that mattered. All that other stuff he saw did not matter.
You have to define reasonable doubt before you make all this other evidence be so important.
But the key word is beyond. So
okay,
now when we put all the evidence on the table, we got like which way out more.
But you got to know what reasonable doubt is before you know if you went beyond it. So you have to establish what reasonable doubt is to realize whether it's gone beyond reasonable doubt or not.
I think all three of us know what that means.
And then also, one of Kelsey's reasons that this is all sealed, we don't know, but a lot of legal experts say the reason why Kelsey pled the fifth is because she accepted a bribe, which is illegal. She was bribed because she gave a statement in September, audio recorded, laid out everything step by step. Tory's the shooter. And then a couple months later, I don't remember, I don't know, I don't want to talk about it.
Check me out, innocent or not. If I end up on the scene of a shooting and I test positive for gunshot residue on my hand, I think it'd be in my best interest to plead the fifth, personally.
But okay, you just missed what I said.
If she accepted a bribe,
it has nothing to do with what you said. It's me personally.
No. If she accepted, if she accepted a bribe, why is her testimony even admissible?
Well, there was no proof that she accepted the bribe, because whatever conversations, the judge took Kelsey in the back room to find out, why do you want to plead the fifth? The judge needs to know.
But the judge knew without her testimony that she tested positive for gunshot residue on her hand.
Yeah, but
he's an expert in the legal courtroom. He's seen these cases without her being involved played out.
Yeah, but the judge also knows that the gunshot residue is not the end all be all. And we also we heard evidence that the gunshot...
Neither is it for Tory.
The gunshot residue, you're right. The gunshot residue travels 15 feet.
But it doesn't specifically land on people's hand, which are usually utilized to shoot firearms. It might land on your shoulder, your chin. It might land on your forearm. It might land elsewhere, but to land right in the area where firing a gun is... The
way the gun expert explained it, it's a huge cloud, and then that cloud settles. So
exactly.
Yeah,
so it will land.
It's going to settle all over the place.
It was found on her hand in accordance with if you had shot a pistol. That's
it wasn't found on her hand.
Are you sure?
I can't help it. I just can't imagine what would be the purpose of testing the hand area if it's not an indication of who shot the weapon. I don't even know why we're debating this. Watch him specify that cloud goes over everything. And if that's the case, why did they only test the hand area? It's common sense to me. I couldn't help it.
The hands were only tested. They test the hand. They don't test the arm.
So it was,
they don't test.
No, so don't say it wasn't found on her hand.
No, you're saying it was only found on her hand.
That's the only way it was tested. It was the only place it was tested. Was on her hand.
It was the only place it was tested?
So it was only found on her hand. That was factual. Yeah, if it was only tested in one area, then it was only found in one area, whether it was present in other areas or not. And the fact that they only tested that one specific area indicates that is the area that indicates the most likely shooter if gun residue is found in that specific area. Because if you're saying it covers 15 feet, then that means everything within 15 feet will have it. Why test any one specific hand? That would be futile. It would be a waste of time, irrelevant, pointless.
It's not factual because if you got gunshot residue on this finger, then it's on this hand, then it's on your arm. Then it's
if everything is going to have gun residue, what would be the logic of testing one specific area of just one individual if the logic that he's utilizing is correct? Everything within 15 feet is going to have gun residue on it. So, hey, we found it on this one little piece of area. What's the point of testing it and presenting that evidence unless it indicates a shooter?
On your shoulder.
Wait.
Because it's a mist of billions of particles in the air.
But wait a minute. If gunshot residue travels any amount of space, just because it meets you to your hand doesn't mean that velocity is going to take it to your arm. It could be only to the fingers in the hand.
Wrong.
No, that's wrong.
That's not true.
100% wrong.
That's not 100% wrong.
If I shoot a gun right here and gunshot residue.
You're saying that he might not have shot it. She might not have shot it.
Let me make this point because I want the listeners to understand this about gunshot residue. Mm-hmm. If I shoot a gun right here, there's going to be a cloud of millions of particles that go up in the air, and it's going to land within a 15 feet circumference. Guess what? That camera's going to have gunshot residue. That tripod's going to have gunshot residue.
So, Mr. Alonzo, sir, what is the point of testing any one individual's hand area? Please explain that to your partner.
That bookshelf is going to have gunshot residue.
So as a prosecution, what did they test for gunshot residue?
They only want to test one thing.
Exactly.
The hand.
That's my point.
That's all that matters.
My point was it was only found, regardless of what else was tested, it was only found on the hand. And the reason why they only test the hand, because that indicates suspicion as the shooter.
No, it indicates that you're close. You're either
hold up, bro.
I'm going to tell you what it indicates.
Indicates, you just said it, Alex, it indicates that you're within 15 feet of the gun firing like everybody else, like everything else, like his knees, his head, his shoulders. Why didn't they test any of those things? Come on, man, this is simple logic. I don't get it. But Alex loves to be correct as far as when there's a debate going on, whether he's factually correct, he loves the position of being right. So sometimes he'll get caught up mid-debate, and I think he'll logically realize his position might not be the most correct, but he's kind of stubborn. Yeah, he's an asshole. Oh, my mama. My partner, though.
No.
I allowed you to land.
You landed already, Spider.
No, I didn't. But you
it indicates, let me say what it indicates. It indicates that you're either the shooter or you're near the shooter. That's all it indicates.
And the fact that you may be the shooter introduces reasonable doubt, and maybe on the spectrum beyond reasonable doubt that, hey, maybe Tory is not the shooter.
Okay.
Because if she had it and he had it, how does that differentiate anything one from the other? They are equally classified as individuals who had GSR on their hand area. So what does it matter that he had it? What's the purpose of even establishing that fact? It's a futile fact unless whatever that means to apply toward him
equally applies to her, which would leave any logical person beyond a reasonable doubt. Once again, I just keep getting there to that same place.
So then that means you believe Kelsey Harris is the shooter.
No, I believe that there's enough evidence beyond a reasonable doubt where we can't quite decide.
So he can at least get a hung jury.
How we know one of the females that lived at the house wasn't the shooter, and all of them are going down trying to keep a secret because she paying everybody on the low. I mean, in a creative sense, there are tons of theories that can be crafted to perhaps present an alternative scenario to other than Tory shot her. That's all it could be. He got railroaded on my mama. Free TL.
That's not the That's not
the burden. That's
not
burden.
your job as a. In this case, your job as a juror is to either say Tory is the shooter or figure out he's not the shooter because somebody else in that car is.
Somebody else may be beyond reasonable doubt.
Somebody else has to be the shooter.
That's not true.
No. Somebody else has to be the shooter.
Beyond reasonable doubt.
That's why they brought the doctor in there to say Megan got shot in the foot.
But that's not what beyond reasonable doubt.
That should have been a hung jury, bro.
Alex.
That should have been a hung jury.
Alex, you are the expert, and you have to admit, beyond reasonable doubt does not mean you have to pick another culprit. It means you have to prove that there's enough suspicion that somebody else may be responsible other than the person you're trying to accuse.
Hey, Alex.
I'm going to say what Spider's saying is correct, but Tory's lawyer used third-party culpability. You know what that means?
That's above
third-party culpability means my guy didn't do it, but somebody else in that car did.
That's why I told you at one point we debated this. I perhaps would have been better representation for Tory than his lawyer.
So that means if you're going to say Tory didn't do it, you have to say either Jaquan, Kelsey, or Megan shot herself.
Hey, Alex.
And which one of those makes more sense?
No, the case does not have to be solvable. I don't agree with that. That's why when all those bikers got arrested on that indictment and absolutely nobody said anything, there were crimes committed. But the crime does not have to be solvable. There does not have to be every piece to the puzzle there for someone to be held responsible for the crime just because you have people there. No, you have to have a corroborating set of statements, testimonies to go along with evidence. That's how I look at it.
Maybe he was trying to disarm her.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it sounds like.
And it went
now.
off because who's shooting down? You know what I'm saying?
Now that disarm is a good theory, but I think it goes out the water. It goes out the window once you hear the audio of the actual shots.
Hey, but see, listen,
because they go like this, bah, bah, bah.
But they test more than your hands
bah, bah.
Because I've been arrested and they took all my clothes and they gave me the suit, the zip up suit. So they was testing something.
No, that was a theory that his lawyer tried to say, that the gun went off during a struggle. So the jury said, let's listen to the audio. Bah, bah, bah. Pause. Bah, bah. They said, nah, that's one shooter.
You know why he got a raw deal?
Yeah, that's right.
Bullets.
They said that's one shooter.
And they went to the ground. So there is, I don't know what kind of lawyer he had that could not defend against fucking intention, bro. She got hit by a bullet that went to the ground at most that ricocheted.
Yeah.
How does he get intention for trying to shoot somebody, bro?
But they said he said some shit like,
well,
dance.
He's lucky he didn't get attempted murder.
That's what I'm saying. But why is he so lucky? Because if we look at the facts, it's obviously a gun was utilized. I see no fucking evidence of intention to harm someone.
Correct. I agree.
He should have hired Megan Blanco.
He was just whoever's the shooter deliberately shot at the ground. And the ricochets hit Megan's foot.
That's my point. So anything is negligence or recklessness.
That's why he was only charged with the assault with a deadly weapon.
But how you get a 10-piece?
Because of the enhancement.
We read between the lines. We read between the lines. We read between
On
the
the set, cause I swore I had covered my base. Ended up in court, had to fight a couple of cases. Crackers don't care when you come in them places. It be written on their faces. Them motherfuckers is racist. Fuck trial, shit tricky, give me the deal. I ain't never seen a real killer beat a pill. Shooter got a brighter future if he got a date. Behind the gate, lot of politics to tolerate. Sitting in the car, finna split a cigar. To my niggas on the yard, send my biggest regards. You don't wanna run it back, we already ran it. Man, they flat on his back, cause I'm heavy-handed. On the catch another fade, we can follow up. But I ain't waiting all day, niggas squabble up. Gang of anger, got it all bottled up. Gang bangers, whole world follow us. Evil times you believe, can you see the sign? Tell me who gon' lead the blind, why they lead the blind? Am I wrong, cause I'm all about me and mine? Niggas better catch on, read between the lines. Evil times you believe, can you see the sign? Tell me who gon' lead the blind, why they lead the blind? Am I wrong, cause I'm all about me and mine? Niggas better catch on, read between the lines. Niggas clowns need to be in the circus. Putting these buzzers on the turf, they defeating the purpose. The first to return when the enemy serves immediately on ease. These weenies be nerve dedicated to a section that didn't deserve us. It turned us into murderers and then the deserters. Number one lesson I learned in the pen: when you lose your respect, you can't earn it again. Smoke a lot, classified most faded. The local won't be satisfied till all his folks made it. This Cabbage Patch where he caught most of the damage at. Perhaps he know a magic plastic surgeon that can manage that. Ask me, I'm just a product of my habitat. Narcotic habits where they quick to let you have it at. Big homie talking about he need half that. I'm laughing at him as if my little bastard having that. Evil times you believe, can you see the sign? Tell me who gon' lead the blind, why they lead the blind? Am I wrong, cause I'm all about me and mine? Niggas better catch on, read between the lines. Evil times you believe, can you see the sign? Tell me who gon' lead the blind, why they lead the blind? Am I wrong, cause I'm all about me and mine? Niggas better catch on, read between the lines.
Neighborhood Net Hustle. Big shout out to my nigga SPI, Spotter Low. You know I'm in the black box, had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned, all that.
It's the homie cook-up boss, goddammit, Cub Low. And y'all tuning in to the Wake and Bake Show with goddammit the homeboy Spider Low.
Here with SPI, the realest nigga in LA.
Spider this bitch!
My nigga Spider Low. Spider Low, nigga.
Spider Low.
Spider Low.
Spider Low.
Spider Low.
Spider Low.
Spider Low, that's my nigga.
Spider Low. Spider Low.
Shout out to SPI, that motherfucking nigga.
Spider Low, Wake and Bake. Better keep it Google, nigga.
Loke is in LA somewhere doing what he's doing.
In the words of Spider Loke on my mama's mama.
Spider Loke's gear. This is Bay Mac.
Nate Blood, C-Mac. Shout out my Loke, Spider Loke, huh? Nate Blood on Hood. It's a beautiful world. You fight me? Fight, crib.
Point blank, through no subliminal dissing. When I listen, I can tell you never been on no mission. Sticking to the script, don't care if I offend you. Neighborhood crib, the marathon
I overlook my competition, never seeing them. I done trained my mind that I'm going. You could tell by how I walk, talk, I'm a boss. A east side millionaire, homie, what you got? My life is a movie. They can't get close to me. They mad cause they can't be. I'm everything that they wanna be, yeah.
You are now in the black box. Whoa! With Spider Loke, Most Easty, aka BJ Keyway, and the Google Gang.
Let's go!